At the beginning of that year, I found myself at a point where I thought it was time for a change. It seemed to me that the new year was the perfect time to set ambitious goals and introduce positive habits. I wanted to run every day, devote myself more to my studies, and eat healthier. And I have to say, first days were pretty encouraging. However, after first week, something happened. Maintaining a daily run became increasingly difficult. Studying, which was supposed to be my priority, gave way to other distractions, and healthy food started to disappear in the face of fast food. As a result, my New Year's resolutions started to fade, and a week later, there were nothing left. This is very similar to the situation when at the beginning of January many people buy their gym memberships, and a few weeks later is just another unused card in their wallet. Statistics show that only a small group, 8% of people, achieve their New Year's resolution, and as many as 25% of them give up just after the first week. Why is this happening? What gets in the way of our determination to change our behavior? We often don't realize, but our lives are basically built on habits. More than 40% of our daily activities are habits. Waking up at a specific time, brushing your teeth, checking notifications on your phone every 15 minutes. These are just a few examples. Did you know that even such trivial things as tying your shoe or climbing stairs are also habits? Every time you tie your shoe, you start with the same hand in the same order. Every time you climb stairs, you start with the same foot. But before we move on, let's explain what actually a habit is. Think about habits as hidden mechanisms that influence our daily life in a way we often not even aware of. These are automatic and regularly repeated behaviors that are triggered by some situations, and most importantly, they happen in our subconscious. What does it mean? It means that when something becomes a habit, we no longer have to think about it in every detail. For example, when we brush our teeth, we don't think about it because our brain is so trained to do this that we do it automatically, often thinking about other things. Habits are also very beneficial for our brain because they allow us to save mental energy. What's really fascinating about habits is how they get triggered. Habits are activated by some signal which is sent to our brain. And we have different types of these signals. This can be time signal. For example, in the evening we feel tired because our habit is sleeping. So a signal to do this is feeling tired. This can be also place signal. For example, our kitchen. You know when you enter the kitchen, grab something to eat, leave, not even realizing this? That's because our habit is sitting, and kitchen is place that we associate eating with. Next signal is emotional signal. This can be, for example, wishing for a cigarette as a stress relief. If someone smokes, his habit is smoking, and signal to do this is feeling stress. But that wouldn't make us a habit. We have a signal and our routine, but we are still missing something. What we need is a reward. Reward is crucial when it comes to habits because it causes the release of the hormone called dopamine. Dopamine is hormone of happiness. When our brain gets this, he's like, hey, that was nice, I want to do this again. This feeling of pleasure reinforces the habit, making it more likely to be repeated in the future. This is called the habit loop. Cue, which is our signal, routine, and reward, which motivates us to do this again. Now, let me explain how habit of exercising works. If any of you regularly goes to the gym or exercises, you may know that often a signal to start your training is time of the day. Let's say in the morning. That was our signal. Now our routine is basically our workout, and what we need is reward. In this case, reward can take many forms. It can be a piece of cake, watching a movie, or a side of a six-pack. Basically something what gives us dopamine. Now, let's look and see what exactly is happening in our brain. Our brain is a very complex organ, but it's important to understand that there is a part responsible specifically for habits. When we repeat an action, pathways in our brain begin to form. The more we do something, the better these pathways established are. Let's compare this to walking through tall grass. Imagine that you are in a forest and you want to cross tall grass. This can be difficult because no one has ever walked this way before, so it takes a lot of time and energy. However, when you will want to do this second time, it will be easier. The grass won't be as high and it will be slightly squashed. Over time, a clear path will be created that you can easily follow. This is what happens in our brain when we repeat an action. It's important to understand that almost anything can become a habit, whether it's good or bad. And the sad truth is that it's much easier to get bad habits than introduce positive ones. It's much easier to take drugs than go to the gym, even if both of these things are habits. Introducing positive habits may be really difficult, but there are some steps that can help us do it. The first step is to make it obvious. Review your current habits. Write them down on a piece of paper. Awareness is key to change. If you want to change something, you have to first understand it. If you want to introduce a new habit, write down what you want to do, where, and at what time. This will make sure that you won't have any excuses and it will be much easier to start. Second step is to make it attractive. A great tool that can help us do it is so-called motivational ritual. This means that before doing something what is difficult, we do something what gives us pleasure or motivates us. This quick yoga session or walk can motivate us to undertake more difficult activities. The idea is that we associate something what is hard with something what gives us pleasure. This can help us engage in habits that previously seemed less appealing. The final step is to make it easy. Adapt your environment to support your new habits. Let's say you want to start running in the morning. What you should do is put your running shoes and running clothes next to your bed night before. This will ensure that when you wake up, you won't have an excuse that something is missing and it will be much easier to start. It's important to understand that habits are actually really important in our life, even if we often don't realize it. We may think that it's not worth building them and it takes a lot of time. But let me show you something. Do you recognize this guy? Probably not. A man addicted to cocaine, heroin, arrested many times, and his health is probably not in the best condition. If you don't know him, it's no wonder. Most people don't know him from such photos. But what if I show you this photo? This is Robert Downey Jr., in whose life habits played a key role. Robert was addicted to drugs, which led to legal and professional problems. After recovering from addiction, he started building positive habits that helped him regain his success in acting career. Who knows? Maybe if it weren't for these habits, we would never have known him as an Iron Man. Habits are truly powerful and can change our lives. We can shape them to serve us and contribute to our development. It's important to understand that this process is not easy, but it's worth it. Habits are not only something what we do, they're also something who we become. I would like to end my speech with a quote of famous English poet John Dryden. We first make our habits, and then our habits make us. Thank you.